Hello everyone and welcome back to Made Tutorials. Today I will be showing you how to make this crochet face mask that also has elastic adjustable straps. So I do just want to go ahead and give a quick shout out to Amanda Love Santos. I did follow her tutorial for the base of the crochet mask, but I did do something a little bit different on the straps. So be sure to check out her tutorial, but if you want straps like mine, be sure to follow along with me. So this was a scrap yarn project for me. I did use Bernat Premium and the color I had was Cafe au Lait. I have no more of the yarn left, but this is just a label if you are interested. I used a 3.5mm hook. You will also need scissors and you will also need elastic string or hair ties, just something that is stretchy like this to make the straps to go around your ears. But that's everything. Let's get right into it. So we're just going to start off with a slip knot. And then from here, we're going to make a chain of 18. So to make a chain, you yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, and just continue that until you have a total of 18 chains. Now that you have your chain of 18, we're going to go ahead into the second chain from the hook. This is 1, this is 2, this is the one we're going into with a single crochet. So you just want to insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's your single crochet. One more time, that's insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and you're going to continue that for each chain until the end of the row. And when you get to the end of the row, you'll have a total of 17 stitches. Okay, once you've completed your row, you should have something that looks like this. And from here, what we are going to do is chain up 1 and turn our work. And now you want to repeat that row. So you want to insert 1 single crochet in all of the 17 stitches. So make sure you go into that first stitch right there with the single crochet and repeat that all the way down until the end of the row. Okay, and upon completing your second row, you'll have something that looks like this. And from here, you just want to repeat that until you make it to row 8. So you're going to chain up 1, turn your work, and insert 1 single crochet in every stitch, and I'll meet you back at row 8. Okay, so I'm just coming up at the end of row 8, and I just wanted to show you the importance of not missing your stitches in order to keep your edges straight. So if you flip your work up, you'll see that there are 2 arrows. Both of these arrows represent a stitch, so that means I have 2 stitches left in my row. So I'm going to go into this stitch and just make sure you never miss the very last stitch. So go into the last stitch, chain 1, and turn your work. So now we are at row 9, and that brings us to our first increase row. From now till row 22, each odd number row will have an increase. And what an increase is simply just putting multiple stitches in one stitch. So we're going to go into our first stitch with a single crochet, and we're going to increase in that same stitch. So to increase, all you want to do is insert an additional single crochet in the same exact stitch that we just went into. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And now you have made your increase. We're only increasing in the first stitch in the row. All the rest of the stitches will have 1 single crochet as normal, as we were doing before. So go ahead and just insert 1 single crochet until you make it to the end of the row. So here I'm just coming up at the end of row 9, and I'm just coming to show you again not to miss any stitches. So I have 2 stitches left. That was my second last one, and this is the last stitch. Don't miss it. All right, and when you finish row 9, you should have 1 additional stitch. So at first we had 17, now we should have 18 because we increased at the beginning of row 9. So we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. This is now row 10. The even rows have no increases. So what we're going to do is go into the first stitch with a single crochet and the second stitch with a single crochet, and we're just going to insert 1 single crochet like normal in every stitch until the end of the row. Okay, so here we are at the end of row 10, and you'll notice that the last stitch looks a little different. That's because we inserted our increase here. So you want to make sure that you go into each of those stitches. And like I said before, you can flip your work up to see that there's 2 arrows. So you know you have 2 more stitches to make and you don't want to miss these. So you're going to insert with 1 single crochet and then another single crochet. And you will still have 18 stitches at the end of row 10. So now we're going on to row 11, chain up 1 and turn your work. And 11 is an odd number, so that means we're going to insert another increase at the beginning of the row right here. So insert your single crochet in the first stitch, and in that same very stitch, insert another single crochet. Now your increase is completed, and just finish off the row with single crochets in every stitch. And here I am at the end of row 11 with 1 stitch left. And when I complete row 11, I will have 19 stitches in total. Chain up 1, turn your work, row 12. No increases, just go ahead and insert 1 single crochet in each stitch. So you will still have 19 stitches at the end of row 12. I'm just going to show you one more time what it looks like to insert the single crochets into the increases from the previous row. Okay, so here we are coming up on the increases. Maybe you can see it a little bit better this time. So there's 2 stitches here, flip your work up, you can see the 2 arrows. So just insert 1 single crochet in each. Chain 1, turn your work, and continue that pattern, where each odd row has an increase in it and each even row is just a regular row with 1 single crochet in every stitch. Okay, I'm at the end of row 22, so you should have something that looks like this. From here, we're going to go and start doing the decrease. So we're going to start making this little slope over here. And to do that, we're just going to do the exact opposite of what we just did. So we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And this would be row 23, which is an odd row. So now every odd row will be decreasing. So to make a decrease, there's a few ways to do it. I'm just going to show you how I'm doing it. So typically we would go into this very first stitch over here. Instead, we're going to skip the first stitch and go into the second one with a single crochet. And simple as that, that is your decrease. And then you're going to continue with 1 single crochet in each stitch in the row until the end of the row. Okay, so now that we just decreased, we're going to have 1 less stitch than we did in row 22. And from here, we're going to chain up 1 and turn our work. And now this is row 24, which is an even row. So that means there is no increase or decrease. It is just a regular row, all with single crochet. And when you get to the end of an even row, it doesn't look as weird as it does when you increased. So it's very easy to see which stitches you want to go into. So now I'm going to chain 1 and turn. This is row 25. I'm going to show you again what a decrease looks like. So you're going to skip that first stitch and go into the second stitch with a single crochet. And then you're going to continue this pattern of decreasing on odd rows and staying normal on even rows until you reach row 35, and that will be your last decrease row. And I'll meet you back at row 35. Okay, so here I'm back at row 35, or you can stop when you have 17 stitches. That's another way to think about it because we started with 17 stitches in total. From here, you just want to insert 1 single crochet in each stitch until you make it to row 42. So we're basically just mirroring exactly what happened on the opposite side over here. Okay, so here we are. I finished row 42, and now the actual mask itself is done, and we're just going to go ahead and add the straps. So if you're using elastic string, this would be way easier, but what I did was just took 2 hair ties and I cut them in half. And then basically I simply just tied them together at each of the ends just to make a longer string. So you do want these to be fairly tight. So when you go ahead and make the knot, you do want to tug on it, but you don't want to tug on it too hard. What I would do is make a semi-tight knot and then just tie the other ends together. Depending on how tight your hair ties are, you may need 3 or you may just need 1. It just depends on what brand you're working with. So at this point, this is when I'm going to go ahead and start loosening up the knots. So I'm just going to pull on them one by one. If you pull too tight, they will snap, so just be wary of that. Just get them as open as you possibly can. So this is the best I can get it at. Okay, so once you finish 2 of them, what we want to do now is go ahead and crochet around the elastic. So I'll show you how to do that now. So you just want to take your elastic and put your hook inside of it. Then you're going to take your yarn and put it on your hook. And then you're going to pull up a loop like that. Make sure you're holding this really secure because it is a little bit hard at first. So just hold it down with your thumb there, and also hold the elastic down there with your thumb to have this little loop, and just yarn over and pull through. Still hold this tail and pull it up with the elastic, and we're going to work it in, and we're going to work single crochets. So insert your hook underneath the elastic, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2. And that's a single crochet. And we're just going to do that all around the elastic until you have something that looks like this. Don't worry about it being messy. We can clean it up later. So again, you just want to insert your hook underneath the elastic and the tail end, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And now it's a little bit more secure, so you don't have to worry about holding it so delicately. Keep in mind when you pull on it, it will stretch and you will see a little bit of the elastic. I personally don't mind, but if you don't want it to show, or you want it to show at the minimal level, insert as many single crochets as you can. The less single crochets you add, the more visible it will be. And the more single crochets you add, the less visible it will be when it stretches. So when you get to the knots, don't worry about them too much. You can hide them or we can cut them later. So just hold down the ends as much as you can, but don't worry about it too much if you can't get it perfect. So when you finally inserted single crochets all the way around your scrunchie or your elastic, you just want to go in with a slip stitch in the first single crochet you made, which is insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop and pull it through. And then you're just going to chain 1, pull up some yarn, cut, and fasten off. And then you're done with the elastics. So now we're going to bring our mask back and just work on the trim. So for the trim, what we want to do is we want to chain up 1. And then we're going to insert a single crochet in the first stitch. And each row of single crochet counts as 1 stitch. So go ahead and insert a single crochet. And then in the next stitch, we're going to skip it and go into the stitch beside it. So this is a decrease just like we were doing before. So don't go into the next row, but go into the one beside it. And then we're not going to do an increase, so we're going to go in the next stitch right beside it. And then we're going to skip a row and make a decrease and go in with a single crochet in the second stitch. So what the pattern ends up being is single crochet and then a decrease. And the decrease is formed by skipping one row and going into the next one. So it's single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease. And take your time with this. It can be a little bit confusing to see, but just continue with that pattern. So I just did a single crochet. Now I'm going to skip a stitch to do a decrease, single crochet, then I'm going to skip a stitch to do a decrease. And what you'll see now is it starts to make this curvature in the mask as we continue all the way around the perimeter. And I'll meet you back when we get to the corner. And at that point, we'll be adding in the elastic straps. So how we're going to go about this is, since we already single crocheted, all you want to do is line up the stitches from the elastic to the stitches on the side of the border. So this makes it pretty easy to get them attached. So this is the first stitch, just insert your hook underneath it, and then insert your hook into the first stitch you want it to go on to in the elastic. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two. We're connecting them with single crochet. You can also connect it with a slip stitch if you like. So just go into the next stitch with a single crochet, and you just want to do that all the way down until the end of the row. So just connect each stitch with a single crochet. So here I am at the end of the row, and it's basically looking like this. The elastic is now attached. And what we're going to do from here is we are going to chain one. And now we're going to work that same pattern we did at the top of the mask at the bottom. So we're going to go in with a single crochet at the first stitch. And I have some tail ends here, so I'm just going to work them in now. And then we're going to skip the next row and make a decrease by going into the stitch beside it with a single crochet. Then we're going to do a single crochet. Then we're going to skip one row and go into the one beside it to make a decrease, and just continue that pattern all alongside the bottom of the mask. Okay, so here I am just going into the very last stitch. I'm going to grab my second elastic and line up the stitches again, and then do the same exact thing we did on the other side. So just connect it with a single crochet in each and every stitch. And here I am at the very last stitch. So all you want to do now is chain one, pull up some yarn, and cut your work, pull it through, fasten, and then basically you just want to weave in this end. And to weave in the ends, all I really do is I just fish the hook in and out of stitches like that. And then I basically grab the end and I pull it through. And then I do the same thing, but in the opposite direction. So I'll start over here this time. I'll just go back and forth and back and forth. Then hook it on and pull it through. And then basically I'll tug on it, cut it, and pull it, and then it's nice and hidden. So from here, I'm just going to go ahead and cut these ends here, clean them up a little bit. And if you notice that your strap is a little too loose upon trying it on, what you can do is you can tug on it like this, wrap it around your fingers, and then just try to tie a knot. It may be a little bit difficult at first, but you can get it. So just pull the knot up, and then you can adjust this. You can push it down, or you can push it up, so it can be a little bit tighter on your ear. So it's always safer to make this bigger than smaller, because if it's smaller, you can't make it bigger. So I did mine on the side here for how I like it. and I'm just going to make sure they match up, because this can make it a little bit more snug and just fit better depending on the size of your face. So the great thing about this mask is that a surgical mask is what you need to wear underneath it, and it actually fits perfectly right inside the mask. But yeah, that's pretty much it. After those steps, your mask is completely done and ready for use. If you like this video, please feel free to let me know by leaving a like or a comment down below. And if you find my content helpful, please subscribe. But that's all I had for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.